Can you combine superhero comics filled with action and fun with Bible values? Is there a comic that's safe for parents but not boring for kids? The answer is yes. Alpha Red is a comic book that combines action and danger with faith-filled stories that will draw your kids in and give them some godly inspiration. Wes is your friendly neighborhood handyman who's chosen for an experiment and given superpowers that make him super strong, fast, and smart, becoming Alpha Red. He's given a super suit filled with spiritual technology to become the hero we need to stop Omega Black and his army from taking over the world. Alpha Red and his kingdom allies must save the world by making sure Satan and his demons can't use their army of transforming robot tanks to teleport all over the world and destroy every major city on Earth. Starting November 17th, you can pre-order Alpha Red Volume 1, which collects Alpha Red issues 1 through 5. This will ship in time for Christmas, so don't miss out on the comic where the Bible meets the battle. Super stories for super kids. Alpha Red. Go to shopalphared.com starting November 17th to bring home an adventure you can believe in. What's going on, friends? James DeWin here with the Alpha Red Comic Channel. Today is Friday. This is a new night for us. For anyone who's new to the channel, we're doing Fridays instead of Sundays because of some personal things. I'm scrambling because I don't know where my tools are. I was messing with the technical end, and everything was going fantastic. So I said, you know what? I am not even going to I'm not going to sweat it. I got stuff I want to do. Let me turn on the music here. Let me turn down the music before I turn it on because it'll blast your eardrums out. Kabamski. An early Kabamski for my man Benny in the house. Let's just say hello to my brothers out there. Benny in the house. Number one, as per the usual. Jay Scott is back in the house. What's going on, brother? Good to see you. Happy Friday. We are going to I'm going to show you a little bit of a little bit of what I've been up to. Just wanted to announce that the Alpha Red number 8 is going to be a wrestling centric issue of Alpha Red, and these guys are actually from a local pro wrestling I don't even know what you call them. A company? Are they a company? But I got them to participate. These are all local wrestlers. So I'm super excited to partner with them. And I'm going to say hi to Godly RBLX. What's going on, brother? Thank you, brother Jay Scott. All right. So this is kind of like the tentative what it's going to look like. I get like super excited. And when I finish something, I just want to kind of know what it's going to look like. But this is not, I'm not going to have like a black and white issue, I don't think, but we'll see. This was what was on the drawing board. As I was doing my work today, I was going through and doing the Batman Deadpool. I don't know if you guys picked it up, but I hear it's getting good reviews. It looks fantastic, especially the Dan Mora and Morrison part. Looks pretty amazing. They take it a little bit more serious than they did with this one over here, the Deadpool Batman. That one was like just kind of silly. Like the art was fantastic. Obviously, it was Greg Capullo, but these are for sale. If you guys, it's $50 each, or if you want them both, it's $80, and that covers shipping. So if you guys are interested, you can PayPal jamesqartist@gmail.com. But this was a little fun that I had. I drew just this picture down here, and once I scanned it in, I just couldn't help myself. I said, you know what? How cool would it be to have a comic of Alpha Red teaming up with one of my favorite heroes, Mr. Spider-Man. Spider-Man. And what would a a stream be if I wasn't hawking my own stuff. This is what is available at shopalphared.com. I am crowdfunding for the collected edition of Alpha Red 1 through 5. Kabamski. Look how nice this looks in living color. In living color. And then there's an Advent book that I was a part of that you can pre-order. There is a link in the description, but you can check out these pictures that I did for the book. I don't want to linger on them lest I do something that they don't want me to do. But I just want to push it out there. If you want a cool Advent book that I had a part in drawing, you can go down to the description below and check that out. But this is half of the team of the men of the hour. This one is Prophet. I forget what his first name is. I think it's like Dan Prophet, Danny Prophet. He's some kind of super soldier mercenary. And then the other half is Chapel, Mr. Chapel. He is the killer of Spawn. I guess they retconned that out. And then, because Todd McFarlane and Rob Liefeld maybe had something, a scuffle back yonder time, but all is forgiven. But I guess the story has been cut out and they moved his origin to something else. But that is brings us to the men of the hour. I did sketch it up. Just wanted to make sure I had time because I do want to do both of them. We'll tighten up the pencils here, and then we'll go and attack it. If I can find my tools. Let me see here. You guys check that out. I might have to scream down to phone a friend. I might have to phone a friend to see if I left it in the dining room, because that is where I was. Because I will be drawing and sketching all over the place. And so I was finishing up. I see my bag, but I did want to show you guys the proof of the volume 1, the collected edition. This is the physical proof that they sent to me, and this does not have the glue. So if I let go, like, all these pages just kind of fall apart. But this is what it's going to look like. It is physically here. It looks fantastic in full color. And if I just open it like this, you get that first page, you get the black and white version 2, and then you jump into the story. And a lot of you already have the comics, so I don't have to go through it again. But if you're interested in that, shopalphared.com gets you one of these for $25, and you can get issues 6 and 7 to complete the set for an extra $5. So bear with me. I'm going to walk around here, grab my tools, and I'll be right back. So I'm not a huge fan of like the colored sketch paper. So I was a little miffed when Batman Deadpool sketch cover came with blue paper. So thankfully, I have some things that I can do to kind of make it stand out a little bit more. So I used some colored pencil and some of that super whiteout that Jim Lee uses to draw. So, like I said, that is available if you guys are interested. What's going on? Let's say hi to some more people. On the other, oops, there you go. What is this? What is Godly RBLX says on YouTube? Bye. Okay. Matt, I don't want to butcher your last name. How you doing, Matt? What are you doing? I am drawing. I'm going to be drawing that. I will be finishing up these guys. I did these. I sketched them out this afternoon as I was doing some meetings, and I'm an insurance guy, an insurance rep, and so as I wait for the computer to spin on the quotes, I do a little sketching every now and again. But Fadio says, "What's up? thank you for joining. Just subscribe. Thank you so much for subscribing. And I hope you find it worth your while to hang out with me more often. I usually do this, I used to do this on a Sunday, just because that was the only day that I could kind of guarantee that I would be able to do it every time. But because of some work schedules from in my family, Sundays are no longer available. So Fridays are going to be the day for the next couple months. So I hope to see you here often as we talk about how to draw, what I'm drawing. I do an independent comic called Alpha Red. So sometimes I talk about that. Sometimes I just talk about what it takes to make a comic. Like right now I'm crowdfunding for the collected edition of Alpha Red, numbers 1 through 5. This would be a second printing, so it's not the first printing. So I typically print out some reference for all you newbies, all the newbie doobies. And, just to kind of get most of the details. But this is a Rob Liefeld creation, so the details they're like optional. Details of the outfits are pretty optional. And I'm back on a kick of doing like more 90s style comics, and I hope you guys dig that, because I am really starting to dig it. It reminds me why I started collecting comics, where the guys' muscles are bigger than their heads, their biceps are bigger than their heads, kind of thing. So that is what we are going to try to achieve with each week. The muscles will get bigger and rounder and more extreme. So, like I said, I'm not super familiar with the many outfits that the extreme guys, characters, have. All right, that's good enough for the details, right? Because it doesn't even seem like it matters too much. But if you guys have any questions, if you want to talk about comics, video games, I'm not much of a gamer, honestly, but maybe in the chat. I'd love for Alpha Red to become a video game. So if you guys are out there and you happen to like Alpha Red and you're just looking for an IP to turn into a video game, let's talk. All right. So that is good enough for Mr. Prophet. Let's do Chapel. He is a special ops guy. I don't think there's anything special about Chapel. I don't think he's like cybernetic up. He just happens to be on a team called Youngblood that has like access to a lot of super duper military grade futuristic weapons and whatnot. So I think that's his shtick. But he is the guy who killed Spawn originally, and then got with his wife. What's up with that? Such a weird direction. I'm just going to use the width of this ruler to make the big chunky monkey Rob Liefeld gun. Even that doesn't seem quite chunky monkey enough for Mr. Liefeld's designs. So do you guys pick up Youngblood. Let's see if I missed anything. I'm a real big fan of comic books. Yes, sir. You come to the right place. Sir. I am a really big fan of comic books. So what are you drawing? I'm drawing Mr. Prophet and then Mr. Chapel. Let me see. Have you ever watched anime? I have watched some anime. I'm not as dialed into the anime as newer fans are. There's much anime to be watched out there. I know how to draw all swords, characters like Goku. Yes. I love the big swords, the big broad swords. It is very, 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 very cool looking. And back when I was growing up, when I was a wee lad, anime was just coming into everybody's brains. Ghost in the Shell had just come out. That's how old I am. And it was a big deal that it came out in the theaters for like a week or two. And so that was like my real introduction to anime. It was Ghost in the Shell, Akira, some of the OG stuff, at least OG for America. But I know that My Hero Academia is big. What is it? What's the stuff that they're making on Netflix that they're doing live action? All right, so I'm gonna just kind of making up different kind of pouches, because each one of them should have some pouches that are kind of uniform for at least that character. So a lot of shorthand at first, but unlike anime and manga, back in the 90s, they used to draw stuff with lots of lines. So that is kind of what I'm going to get back to, is like doing lots of lines. Lots and lots of lines. And if anybody is interested in buying this, I don't know if anybody has said anything. Brother Benny usually snaps it up forthwith. But this is going to be $50. $50 whenever it's done. So, and if you want to buy it, you can go over to jamesqartist@gmail.com on PayPal is the best way for me to tell you how to snag it. But Brother Benny, he's quick on the draw, so don't rub your chin beards too long, because he will snatch it right up from underneath you. So right here, I'm going to do a little bit of the shadowing, and it may or may not look exactly like this, but I am going to make sure that I'm thinking about it right now, because whenever I start in with the pencil, the inks, I want the decisions to already kind of be made about where the shadows and stuff are going to go, so that I'm not making any mistakes. So Video U says Jujutsu Kaisen 2. Yes. All fun stuff. Can you teach us how to draw a comic? So comics, like as far as the whole thing, is a little bit more in depth. So storytelling is a big part of how to create a comic. So when you have your story, you're going to want to break it down some into bite-sized pieces, and there's lots to think about when you're doing the storytelling, so that you're walking the reader through the comic in a way that that keeps them wanting to flip to the next page. At least the good creators know how important that is, to make sure that you're not you're not completing the whole idea until they turn the page. That is a little trick of the trade. All right, let's see. I forgot to do a little bit of shadowing on this side. This is going to be the shoulder pad shadow. And then there's an under shadow here. Goes dark to light. Let's do that. Do that. And make sure we got the shadow to go that way. And then for the leg in the back, you want to push the leg to the back so you add more contrast to it. And then that back leg will sink back a little bit more. And then you let the thing up front be more lit up. All right. What do you think? Is that close enough to inks ready? Let's do some designs in the gun here before I get too carried away here. Let's see if we can't come up with just a couple of different cuts in the gun here that make it look like it can shoot something super duper powerful. Everybody has their own kind of style when it comes to futuristic weapons. So Mr. Liefeld is very unique in his designs. I want to keep the spirit of it without just kind of, I would just steal what kind of designs that he has, but I don't have anything in front of me. Like this picture here is a Jay Lee drawn picture, and this over here looks to me like a Stephen Platt drawn picture, even though they were created by Rob Liefeld. So you guys who are younger, who watch anime and read manga, do you search out any of the old stuff? Like, these characters have been around for like 30 years. I don't know if you guys go back and try to check out what is older. I'm going to take a picture of it in pencil. So if you guys would indulge me, please. Video U says, hold on, be right back. Don't leave me hanging. Don't leave me hanging, Video. Have you ever seen those really thick books, like How to Draw Everything in 30 Days? How come no one has ever made a really thick How to Draw a Comic Book, How to Draw Comic Drawing book? There are two, actually. There are two. One is done by Marvel. There's probably more than two. It's just a matter of looking a little harder, I think, for what's already out there. So there are a lot of guys who are very helpful with teaching you how to create comic books. It's really hard to get your attention is the problem, because there's so much other stuff out there. So like you really get lucky when you find somebody who's speaking to you in a way that is useful to you. All right, let's keep this guy over here and do the sword. I don't know if you guys are you seeing it okay? Yeah, it looks like it's okay. It's okay. That's okay. So whenever I'm drawing a sword, like I'll lift up the pen just a little bit, because if you want to show that the sword is being used a lot, it gets all nicked up. So you want to show that. So I'll come in later and then come in like this, so it shows like little chunks have been taken out of it, and that just kind of shows like the wear and tear of a sword. So it's kind of reinforced in the middle here. And then this will be the middle. Middle. Just want to take it all the way to the top, because I actually want to maybe do like a pretend comic book cover using it. And I want it to get as close to the top of the page as possible, because a normal comic book page is 11 by 17, or at least the drawing size is 10 by 15. And this sheet of paper, which is a Bristol board, it is actually 9 by 12. And so it is not quite as big as, I hate when it slips. It's not quite as big as the 10 by 15 drawing area that typical American comic book artists use, which I no longer use. I no longer use the larger size, because I'm not able to do it. I'm not able to draw as many pages if I use the same size as the professionals. I actually have to make it smaller so I can get more pages done. Let me see if I'm missing anything. Yeah. So coming up with your own story, that's almost the harder part for an artist, because an artist can visualize a story that's told to them, but coming up with a story is not quite as easy for us. I do have stories, but they always need a little bit of help. So I have a writer that I trust, and he comes up with the stories, and then, well, we trade back and forth. Sometimes he comes up with the stories, sometimes I do. But if I come up with a story, I give it to him and I say, hey, make it a little bit more interesting than I have right here. And then he does. And he gives it back to me, and then I kind of take what he does and then make it even more interesting, in my humble opinion. I'm glad that he is open to me doing that. So he has a lot of armor and stuff, and it almost doesn't matter what his costume looks like. It does to a point, obviously, but it looks like he has some gloves. He has some cloth ribbon type stuff around his wrist, and then he has a metal forearm gauntlet armor thing. So we'll make sure that we're kind of making it look a little like it's metal. And then his elbow pads look super dangerous. I mean, I don't know how he doesn't get jabbed himself. But that's the cool thing about making comics. They don't have to make sense. They just have to look cool. cool outweighs making sense. And the sooner you learn that lesson, the more successful you will be, because you won't waste a lot of time trying to make it make too much sense. So what I'm doing here is I'm laying down just some thin lines, and I will go back and thicken up those lines after I've created more texture with a lot of these little shorthand texture. I don't even know what you call them. Scratches? Not scratching really, but you know, it's just the quick little nicks and scratches that make for a drawing that looks like it has a lot of texture. So this guy has long hair. He's got like a boxer's guard over his face, as you do, as Mr. Liefeld's characters often do. But yeah, Chuckley, there are two popular ones. I don't want to say popular. I only knew of one up until recently, but How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way with Stan Lee and Sal Buscema. And they kind of do a great job at not only giving you the basics of what it looks like to turn a story into art, like written words into art, like what you're thinking of, what kind of angles and things like that, to make sure that you're telling the whole story that the writer wants to show you, wants to create. And then on top of that, John Buscema, he's just a master at the different angles, just dramatic ways to dramatically tell the story to make it that much more interesting. So right now, I'm just kind of thinking of shapes, right? Like I want to make sure that you know that this has some form. And so all the lines kind of have to tell you that as I'm putting it down there. Let me see. We want to make sure that we get a handsome face in here. Tough guy, but he's rugged. Like Prophet is like Conan, modern day Conan. He does have a giant sword, but he also has like weapons and stuff, giant laser guns. And we want to make sure that his eyes aren't too far apart. So I want to make it like dramatic in the shadows, right? Because he's a kind of a mysterious, tough guy. Kind of mysterious. He's not that mysterious, but he's a tough guy. So you gotta make sure his eyes are in the shadows. There it is. There it is. I think he's ruggedly good looking enough, right? Just hinting at all the things there. He's got technology on top of technology as I'm looking at this reference picture next to me. I don't even know where all the technology is going. But he's got like some kind of binocular things going up on top there. And all the little nuts and bolts that kind of make it look like it's realistic. Because when you look at armor, you look at all the armor on warriors, they are kind of, they got all these little things that you don't even think of, and you don't even know why they're there. At least I don't. But they look right to be there. Just look right to be there. So we're gonna make sure his shoulder pads are nice and big. That's something that Mr. Rob Liefeld always made sure his characters had, known for big shoulder pads on his characters. But yeah. Anything else? Anybody else out there? I love answering these questions. I love answering the questions. Yeah, it's not an easy hobby to perfect. It takes lots of time, and I do a lot of drawing, honestly. Probably more than my employer would care that I do. I'm stuck on a lot of phone calls, and so I will be sketching while I'm on a conference call. Especially when I am only needed in a very... What's going on, Patrick? Hey, did you change your at Patrick12? Patrick Daniel in the house. Can only pop in for a bit. Wanted to say hi to everyone. Well, hello, Mr. Patrick Daniel. I appreciate you. Appreciate you coming in, saying hi. I thought that was you. Your little picture I saw. I was like, usually says Patrick Daniel. But glad you could pop in and say, with that. Remember that? I think those guys with the Bud Light commercials. Was it Bud Light or just Budweiser? With that. I didn't drink much Bud, but those were fun commercials for sure. Bud was just not my speed. Just not my speed. So there is a contest. This is actually for a contest. I don't know if I mentioned that in the description. I want to make sure that his arm gets in here so that I know how far I can go back here. Okay, so I've got to go in and do the popped collar. Hang on a second. I'm going to do his face here first because you don't want to mess up the face. You don't want to mess up the face. Gotta give him the angry brow. Really, really turned down like that. the beady eyes going. And it's like the Punisher's face. I mean, the Punisher's shirt, except on the guy's face, which I always thought was kind of cool. I don't know if they ever did that before, but this was the first character that I ever remember seeing it done, and it was kind of mean looking. So I want to make sure that he's fully looking scary enough before I throw in his arms over there. Those are his gums. I don't know if you guys like, you can see like the teeth and the gums and all that. And you're always supposed to think about like the light source. Light source is really just coming down from the top is the way I like to draw it. Especially on these draw streams, there's a little bit more pressure when you get the camera turned on and I'm trying to talk. So, commercial was Budweiser. I do drink Bud Light, and no idea why my name changed there. Yeah. I thought maybe you wanted to be a little bit more conspicuous. A little bit more conspicuous, like everybody knows who Patrick 1227 is now. Maybe that's your email address or something. I don't know. I could check, I guess. You've emailed me before. And I keep telling myself that I need to kind of think through how I want to give you some pointers on the sample writing stuff that you sent to me. So just want it to be constructive, you know. All good. All good. All good stuff. But I could check and see if Patrick1227 is your email address, at Gmail or something. Is he scary enough for you? And then you gotta make him. So this will be his neck here. This is his chest. But we're more worried about his arm right here. So that once I get his arm in place, I can then go back in and finish up Mr. Prophet. Mr. Prophet. So Bud Light, huh? You're a Bud Light guy. Mr. Patrick's the Bud Light guy. I drink even cheaper beer than Bud Light. Drink, I don't even know what it's called. I just walk right over to it and pick it up. I think it's, goodness, Milwaukee's Best Ice. That's what I drink. And it's more bang for your buck. That is really the only reason I drink it. More bang for your buck. I think it's like 5.9% alcohol. I don't drink often, but when I do, it's really cheap beer. Ah, it's your birthday. Gotcha. December 27th. Gotcha. Terrible day to have a birthday, I'll say. Everybody tries to tell you that they already got you a gift 2 days ago. That's if I'm not drinking a whiskey and a ginger ale. Really? Whiskey and ginger ale? Is that a thing? Is that a thing? I have a whiskey every now and again. Bourbon, I think, is what my buddies drink at conventions. Oh, bourbon and a cigar or something like that. But I can't have too many of those either. They drive me nuts. All that drives me nuts. The heavier stuff. No wonder you stick to Bud Light. It's just a chaser. Just kind of cleanse the palate in between. Between little shots. Not shots. I guess if you're doing a ginger ale. That's it's kind of a mixed drink. The only reason why I stopped doing the mixed drinks is because I was drinking too much. I would get too drunk. So I figured out that was not for me. No, I don't hang out with many people who drink, so I don't do it very often. It was a thing for my Irish grandma. She said it was an old Irish cure for anything. Well, I'd have to try that. I think my wife, she says that I get a little belligerent when I drink liquor. So if she sees any kind of liquor in my hand, she gets a little bent out of shape. So happy wife, happy life. So I don't bother pushing it. So when I go to comic book conventions, like the normal kind, not homeschool conventions, I'll have a couple of bourbons or whiskeys or whatever with some of the old comic book guys that I kind of grew up with. So, but I'm usually the first one out. All right, I think that's good for playing with his arm. So I could go over here and play with Mr. Prophet's arms. And I'm going for the swole. Everybody's going to be extra swole from now on, I think. That's the fun look. That's what kind of got me into comics in the first place. That all these guys walked around looking like they were fully flexed. And just makes them look more heroic. Like they can actually take down the bad guys. Patrick says, I have learned to pace myself in my old age. Yes. I think I probably can pace myself also, but I don't know what my wife, what kind of experience my wife remembers of me when I had the hard liqueur, but it's like instant doghouse. I'm instantly in the doghouse if I even smile at a thing of hard liquor. If I look at it with googly eyes, I'm in deep trouble. And not out of the doghouse for a long time. So we just keep it on the down low that I even have it at all at the conventions.
We just don't talk about it. She assumes that I don't, and I don't tell her. And it's not like I do all the time. It just depends on who is at those particular conventions. And I typically don't buy any. They will just ask me to partake in their whiskey. I just buy my cheap beer, and that's it. So I'm doing this, like this was the big thing when I was getting into comics, was this kind of underglow where it's like there's a line of contrast up here. I know that I've talked about it, but it really does date back to that era. Of Jim Lee and Will Spertatio, Rob Liefeld. But I will be posting this on the Rob Liefeld Marvel Extreme and Beyond Facebook page. On Facebook. On the Facebook.com. On the old Facebook.com. Looks great, by the way. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Patrick. Thank you. Yeah, I think, I guess this was the style that I really enjoyed. And then, like, you think you grow out of it, or you find another style that piqued your interest or whatever. And then you forget about former styles that you liked. And I got back into it because I am in the process of, let me see if it's close enough. I don't know if you've been following along, Patrick Daniel, but I'm going to use this as an homage cover. So obviously this is Jim Lee, X-Men #1. This is Magneto, Wolverine, and Cyclops over here. And so in trying to work up the proof of concept that was going to look good, and whether or not I wanted Alpha Red up front or Wingman up front of that, I rediscovered the style, and I am in love with it all over again. And so I don't know if you were here in the beginning, but I just drew a Spider-Man Alpha Red team up mock cover, and using that style, and it's so much fun. I hope that one day I will be able to draw an Alpha Red Spider-Man team up crossover. That would be fantastic. I think that goes out like that. Not that it matters with a Mr. Liefeld design. It's kind of roll your own. It was so funny. Even he still does it with even Youngblood, where within the same page, on the same page, the outfit does the costume design does not stay the same. I'm like, bro. Some things don't change. Him and Tom McFarlane were notorious for that. Shotgun Scream says, "What's going on, Brother James? Have a great stream and inking sesh." Thank you, Shotgun Scream. Lydia, boy, I'm gonna butcher your name. I already can't read well. So Lydiana Mani, 5520. Cool drawing. Thank you so much for the encouragement. Patrick says, okay, got to scoot. Have a great rest of the stream. Looking forward to hearing your thoughts on those writing samples. Yes, sir. Will do. Will do. Will do. So, yeah, I am new to Friday nights, so I am glad you guys are hanging out with me, and I hope that you discover the other drawings that I do. Just try to encourage everybody to be drawing, be checking out some cool comic books. Don't be afraid to pick up the pen, the pencil, and you never know if the bug catches you. The drawing bug catches you, and maybe you become obsessed like myself. And you find lots of joy just sitting there on boring phone calls, just doodling away to pass the time. And you have cool drawings to share with other folks afterwards. Yeah. So I am in the middle of a campaign for my collected edition of my independent comic book, Alpha Red. That's why it's called the Alpha Red Comic Channel. Here on the YouTubes. On the YouTubes. So my character is a superhero. It's a superhero comic because that's what I thought comics were. I didn't realize that comics were all over the place. They could be anything. I had no idea. I thought they had to be superheroes. But they used to be Westerns. They used to have Western comics. I guess those were popular for a long time. Romance comics. Archie comics. But so Alpha Red he's your friendly neighborhood handyman who gets chosen for an experiment, and they put a chip in his brain that gives him super strength, makes him super smart and super fast. And they give him a super suit. They give him his awesome outfit, and it's got spiritual technology in it. And he has to learn how to be a superhero so that he can save the world from a transforming robot tank named Omega Black. And Omega Black is piloted by Satan. So he has to discover his faith before he can unlock all the powers of the suit and then save the day. Fun stuff. I have 7 issues created, but Alpha Red Volume 1 is what I'm calling the collected edition, and it contains issues 1 through 5 because that is the origin story of Alpha Red. Great for Christmas. Tell your friends you want to check out Alpha Red for Christmas. You can pick up all 7 issues if you want. If you want. You can save $5 if you get them all. 7 issues typically cost you $35, but if you go to shopalphared.com, you can pick it up for $30. $30. There is some shipping. So, and if you want to get 2 sets, just let me know. And you don't have to pay shipping twice. So $10 should be all the shipping that you pay, unless you want a poster. If you want a poster of the cover, it's $15. Fong says, "Are we doing Friday nights now instead?" Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I don't know if you missed the memo. You must have missed the memo. I have to switch to Friday nights. It is switching everybody. This must be the new YouTube format where they stick on your handle, your whatever name, your @ name, instead of like, because I don't remember yours looking like that, Fong, unless it always did, and I'm just a dummy for never noticing. But I thought it said something else before, but now it has Fong Wui Huang 1924. 1924. Are you that old? 1924? That's old, brother, man. You look pretty good for 101 years old. Oh, 1924. Just kidding. That's funny how you come up with your email addresses and things like that. So when my kids turn 14, we allow them to get an email address so that they can communicate with their grandparents and any friends that we had moved away from where they grew up to where we are now. And so they missed their friends. And so when they turned 14, they were allowed to create an email address, and they could pick out whatever they wanted. And man, did they pick out some stinkers. Nobody could remember them, and some of them didn't mean what they thought it meant. My one son, they have all since changed their email addresses, but he said, I know, brother, I know. But 1924 is what I'm saying. Like, were you born in 1924? Some people put their birth year as their as part of their email address. But Shotgun Scream says, I've been collecting the IDW Artisan editions, amazing books to study. Just got the McFarlane Artist Edition. Can't wait to crack that bad boy open. If you look behind me here, I'm going to make this screen smaller, Shotgun. But right here behind me, you see, that's the Jim Lee Artist Edition IDW. And I love it. I love it. It's so big. I mean, you might find it like sacrilegious to cut things out of there, but I'm never going to be able to afford a Jim Lee original X-Men page. And but I can hang them on my wall because I paid $120 for the artist edition. You know what I'm saying? And if I do want, like, just to have it back in the book, I just pay another $120. But it is, you learn so much for sure when you see these lines up close. And they were definitely more skilled and more masterful than what I see nowadays. Even in my own stuff, I have no delusions of grandeur that I throw down these fantastic lines or anything. I'm just kind of mimicking what I kind of see in my head that they used to do, so, but they did it with a brush and the line weights mattered a lot more. So, got to take this back down and put that in the corner there. But yeah, it is. And for me, I don't know if you saw that I was using that Jim Lee, that very Jim Lee cover as an homage cover for not this issue or the next issue of Alpha Red, but issue number 10, just because I know where the story's going, and who he's going to be fighting and who his ally is going to be. And so as I was redrawing, like drawing my characters over top of the X-Men, I'm learning so much from every line, every stroke of ink. And it has really reinvigorated my love for the 90s style comic, where there's, you're not leaning so heavily on the colorists. I mean, the colorists are saving a lot of these artists at Marvel and DC. I'm not saying that there aren't any really good artists over there. Obviously, the ones that are on the top books are the really, really good ones. But the ones that are not on the bigger name books are kind of garbage. And if they didn't have really good colorists, they'd be dead in the water. It would not be working. People would not be picking up said comic book. Not a chance. Not a chance. Yeah, so I do have another IDW collected edition, but it's not full size shotgun. It's the Daredevil Born Again with David Mazzucchelli. But it looks fantastic, even at, like, I don't know if this would be half size, but it is so cool to see the level of mastery that David Mazzucchelli had. So a lot of this sketchier looking stuff I will kind of tighten up when I go back. Probably not during this draw stream, because drawing two characters is kind of time consuming. But especially at this size, I'm drawing a little bit bigger than I normally draw, which is just 9 by 12. For these draw streams, I typically do an 8.5 by 11. And believe it or not, that does make a difference in time. Like, the less ink, the less decisions you have to make, because you can't make those decisions. The length of your lines and stuff, just all matters. Let's see if I can make it look like his fingers bent back a little bit. I don't know if that came through. And his fingers off the trigger. Off the trigger. Off the chain. I never thought about what the term off the chain actually meant. I just knew that people used it. But somebody, as they were using it, kind of walked you through, like, that they're not chained down anymore. They're doing whatever they want. And just made me think of how many sayings that I don't know what it actually means. I don't use them. I don't say off the chain, but I hear people say off the chain. I don't typically think too much about it. But the way the guy illustrated that we are not tied down anymore, we are off the chain, I was like, oh, I get it. A duh. Yeah, Fong, I don't know if I just assumed that you were busy last week. And maybe you're not, you just don't get on Fridays, I don't always get on. Actually, Fridays would probably be the days that I get on the least up until the schedule's changed around my house here. And now I can probably, obviously I'm on now, but I had not been on a Friday in a long time. I know in the beginning I was just trying to get on whatever day that my wife didn't need me around the house or whatever. But the conventional wisdom was that you want to pick a day and stick with that day so that people remember to come find you. And the best day would be every day. But this is not my full-time gig, so it's hard to convince the wife that I need to do another draw stream when I'm not making any money stream. So anybody excited about Christmas? Everything is feeling a little Christmassy, even though Thanksgiving is the next holiday. Poor Thanksgiving, we have so much to be thankful for, but we're always in a rush to get to Christmas. And poor Thanksgiving never gets a fair time in the sun. People are doing Halloween earlier and earlier, and then they'll keep their stupid decorations up even longer. Like, I'm tired of seeing that giant skeleton, that Nephilim skeleton in everybody's yard. It's time to take it down. But Thanksgiving, that should be the one that we hold on to. But we got no songs for it. It's got bad PR. We need somebody to ramp up the Thanksgiving PR. Last Friday, I was at a marriage conference. Nice. Feels random. In the fall? Marriage conference in the fall? I've done one around Valentine's Day. Went to one around Valentine's Day this past year. And that was the first one that my wife and I had gone on in a long, long time. So were you resistant to going on the marriage retreat or going to the marriage conference? Was it your idea? Where do you fall on that spectrum there, Brother Fong? Like, I was on board immediately when my church announced that they were doing a marriage conference. Just every now and again, you just need the reminder, the refresher, all those good things. So, but just as I was going to suggest it to her, she emailed me and said, "Hey, I want to go to this. You want to go?" So we were both on the same page. And by the time it came around, we were at each other's throats. It could not have come at a better time. I mean, just so much pressure. By the time it came around, that I don't know if you call it spiritual warfare, but man, it was definitely felt like bad things. There were bad things getting worse. All the way to the time that we walked out the door, drove to the wrong hotel because she made a reservation at the wrong hotel. She told me she'd take care of making the reservations. It's great, because I was super busy. And then she booked it at a different hotel than where the conference was. And so we had to walk 15 minutes to the conference. It ended up being fine, of course. But super cold up here in the Northeast in February. Folks said, my wife's idea, but I was okay with it. Nice. But Friday nights are typically pickleball for me. Pickleball? Be a millennial? A boomer? I'm kidding. I don't get it. I must say, I don't get it. It's okay. It's fun. I learned how to play pickleball when I was in high school. That was one of the choices. But pickleball, my man, tell me, how'd you get into pickleball as a Gen Xer? That is not something that we typically do. I always give everybody who plays pickleball a hard time because it's like obsessive for some people. I went on a company business trip a couple of years ago, and the millennials, they took over the tennis courts with their pickleball, and they were doing it for like 3 or 4 hours. Like, okay, it looks kind of fun. Okay, and I'm not saying that I don't understand it. I just don't understand the obsession with it. I'm open to, missing something, but like hours and hours. And I hinted that I would like to play around, and they were just very not into, like, somebody who didn't seem like they knew what they were doing, joining them. I just didn't understand it. That might be part of my me mocking it. So what are you guys doing this weekend? You're starting it off right, that's for sure. What else have you got going on this weekend? Lots of drawing? Anybody working on their comic books like me? Anybody working on their comic book? I will be working on Alpha Red number 8. So hopefully you can still join us whenever you don't have pickleball by the phone. Exercise is important, for sure. Physical activity should not be mocked. Let's see. Shotgun Scream says, working on my comic. Yes, that's what I'm saying, sir. Sculpting some characters and tightening up the script. Nice. Sculpting some characters. You're a what you call it, guy? A 3D guy? Or are you talking like physical sculpting? Oops. Should be a productive weekend, hopefully. That is always, we should always plan to be busy. Now, sometimes people stop in and you got to make time for friends and relationships. But if that's all you're doing, you got to prioritize your creative endeavors. You will not regret it. So I don't typically use a ruler, but I feel like with guns and stuff, it can go pretty wrong pretty fast. So just gonna go ahead and use a ruler for these couple of lines, at least to kind of lay it down. And then if I happen to freehand some stuff, I'll still have some, it'll still won't look terrible because the real lines, the rulered lines would be down. What kind of book are you doing, Shotgun Screen? Is there a link? I don't know if I can throw up a link. I don't know how to give people wrenches or whatever. I know people give me wrenches. I'm like, how do you do that? But I'm happy to promote your comic if you want. You can point to people who have made it this far into the video to your creation. Happy to do it. I know that I have benefited from a lot of people who have been very generous with their channels and their time, and so I'm happy to pay it forward. Happy to pay it forward. 3D sculpting. 3D sculpting. Nice. I have a bunch of my so I have this guy was 3D sculpted. Ba-ba-da-bam. And I did paint it. So he came in. He was resin. Came in super happy with it. Oops. Funk says, I do play tennis, but it was too hard for my wife to pick up. Pickleball was easier to learn. Got it. Gotcha. Thanks for asking. No link yet. It's a father and son story set in a high fantasy world. Nice. Okay. No, I love it. Nice one, Mega Print. Thank you. So, yeah, so my, that's where Alpha Red is going to end up in a fantasy world here too. Eventually. I have so many stories that I want to tell and so many things I want to draw. And I just got to get there. I mean, I'm working on issue number 8. I don't think I'm going to get it done this year. I mean, it would be a miracle, literally a miracle. Like the world has to stop. Like my job is going to have to not need me. And I would have to feel no guilt about spending that time that I would typically be spending on the job working on Alpha Red. But kind of finish up my other art obligations and get back to it. I had to finish I wanted to finish a lot of the pinup art and promotional art before I get back into the actual nuts and bolts of the pages. But just because I'm working with the local pro wrestling company, and I want them to be able to start promoting it, they can use a lot of the art that I produce for them, and hopefully it'll be beneficial to bring some attention to Alpha Red. So Shotgun Scream, are you a digital artist, or do you work with pen and paper? Or do you do both? Maybe you do both. I've tried to do the digital. It just does not. It's like another layer, another skill that I have to learn how to get used to with the digital stuff, and it's just another layer of frustration when the technology does not do what you want it to do. So for me, it's just that much easier to stick with the old pencil and paper and inks. Although I keep telling myself I'm going to go all the way with the inks and pick up a brush and do the dipping and all that stuff. But just can't bring myself to do it. Just can't bring myself to do it. Hadn't played pickleball before, but I'm really enjoying it. Yeah, it looks fun. I enjoy it when I play it. I don't make it a priority for sure. Shotgun says digital artist all the way. I'm in cinematics director for video game company day by day, sculpting, inking at night. Nice. If you ever want some help with the digital stuff, let me know. Would be happy to help. It's really, I guess the hang up I have is the programs. I know that everybody is starting to use Procreate, whereas I'm an old school Photoshop guy, and I have an iPad, and everybody says use the iPad, use Procreate, and magic happens. But my goodness, just doesn't seem to work out that way for me. Just does not. Cannot seem to make it work. And I know that, you just have to do it for long enough, and it eventually becomes second nature. But old dogs and new tricks and all that. Old dogs and new tricks. High fantasy, huh? Nice. Yeah, I was thinking about, because I've had so many ideas in my long journey of comic book creation. And I have a fantasy story that I started a long time ago, and I'd love to bring that back into I'd love to bring that story into the Alpha Red world. And I have a way of doing it that's not cheesy. And even if it is a little cheesy, Alpha Red is not the most serious book in the world. So I think I can get away with a little bit of fantasy in there. And I was thinking through like another character that I just created it, but like anything new, you start thinking about it and you go, oh, wouldn't that be cool? Wouldn't that be cool? I want to draw that. And I have to resist. Even like this. This is just kind of for fun. but I justify it by saying that this is part of a contest on Rob Liefeld's Facebook page. So when I post it, I can get people's attention and then point them back to my campaign for Alpha Red Volume 1. And so if people like my drawing of Rob Liefeld's creations, I can maybe convince some to give Alpha Red a try. It's it's a reason, some reasoning. I don't know if it will be true or not, but it's always fun to do little contests. Funk says, I'll think about Christmas after I'm done with the 3 turkeys I'm making for Thanksgiving. 3, bro? 3? Shotgun says, High Fantasy is best. Grew up watching Conan, and the itch never left. AO in a high fantasy world would be dope. Yes. So like in my high fantasy, it would be a little bit of technology, a little bit of magic, big swords. There's a big, there's kings, kingdoms. What else? I mean, they're just all kind of thoughts and ideas in my head. Dragons, I'd be riding around on dragons and dinosaurs. So, I hope to get to it sooner rather than later. Next year, I would like to get issues 8, 9, and 10 done, and then the following year is when I can dip into a new story arc that takes him to places that he did not know about or thought were gone. So I'm hoping that the spark is still there for that story. It's like the first story arc of Alpha Red, where I had all these possibilities of where the story could go, and it really kind of became a roadblock because I didn't have a solid story, so I kind of meandered a little bit. And so I want to work out those things in the next year. So when I start with issue number 11, that it can be a lot more intentional and not just an issue or two of like meandering to kind of get a feel for which direction I prefer. Yeah. Yeah. Shotgun says, best of luck on the Liefeld contest. Never know where the next pop of interest will come from. Yep. Hope you win. Thank you. Yeah, so I hate the thing I hate about that contest, especially, is that anybody can ask for an extension and they'll keep extending it like forever. And so I lose interest. Like I'll put in an entry, and then I'll try to gin up some interest in it. I go, hey, the picture that I drew is going to be in this contest. It starts today. Please jump over there and vote. And then I show up that morning, and then I go, oh, it's not until next week. Somebody asked for an extension. Like, bro, you got to hit a deadline. Hit the deadline and stop. The administrator just needs to stop postponing. I mean, that's how they lose me. Because I'm like a 5-year-old kid, and I need to know. I need to know right now. I don't mind rules. I like the rules. The rule says on Tuesday morning, you have to have it in. And I don't want to hear on Tuesday morning that somebody asked for an extension. And we're not going to start the contest until the last person who ever had an inkling to join the group, join the contest, gets off their lazy butts and submits their picture. And I don't know if their pictures are any good or not. I don't know. I can't think of anybody who I think is like no good and they're postponing it. It makes me even more mad if you weren't going to win anyway. No, that's mean. That's mean-spirited. I apologize. But because you never know. Like when your time to shine has come, you never can tell. So I celebrated my 25th wedding anniversary this week. I know a lot of you guys are friends with me on Facebook, so you know. But it's been really rich to go through the pictures with our kids, you know. And my wife can still fit in her wedding dress, so that's quite the accomplishment. I've seen some of my friends' wives. They could not. So we actually happen to be in the state where we got married. We do not live in New Jersey. She grew up in New Jersey. I grew up in Pennsylvania. So we now live in New York. And so we don't often get back to visit where we grew up. And so we got married in New Jersey. And I happened to have a meeting in New Jersey. So I made my way out there, and my wife came with me. And so the following day, on our way back to New York, we stopped in at the church where we got married, stopped in at the hotel where we had our reception, and we had our youngest son was with us, and he was taking pictures of us for us. So it was quite a neat experience that day to kind of walk through what we remembered of that night. It actually inspired my son to come home and watch our wedding videos and actually convert them. He's converting them, our VHS, into a digital format. And he wants to be a videographer. So he might actually be able to do us up a proper, more modernized type of a video. All right, guys, I think this is the first part of it. It's done. I don't know if you want to hang out for another 20 minutes. Would you guys hang out or no? Boom. Shotgun says, writing is by far the most difficult part for me. Yep, that is why I ended up with a writer, because I had a story that I wanted to do following the 5-issue origin story for Alpha Red. So I had the story. The writer approached me. I said, I got a story. So thanks, but no thanks. And then I just couldn't land the plane. And so I asked him for a couple of pitches, and then off to the races. You know, three issues later, it is all good. So Joe Spicer in the house says, yes, love Prophet and Chapel. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, Shotgun, for the congratulations on the anniversary. So it is, the time flies by for sure. So I think I'll keep going and do a hard cutout at 10. I don't typically do a 2-hour stream, but it's 2 characters and it's turning out pretty good. So I don't want to stop now. Don't want to stop now. So when I go back in and I use the thicker pen, I'm thinking about the shadows, like where the shadows land, and so I want to make sure to do all the underneath stuff in the darker pen first. But I'm also thinking, like, how do I separate different objects from one another? So I want a lot of things to accomplish as I'm working through the picture with the thicker pen. Okay, so that's his bicep. I was like, what am I drawing here? So you definitely sometimes have to give up the line weights where you would typically want some line weight differences. But sometimes I have to put like a big black, like a bolder black line in there to make sure that I'm separating the bicep from his shirt. And then so I'll leave all the wrinkles in the shirt there as I go in and just separate the shoulder strap, tech, armor, whatever, belt across his chest. And so I'll just leave that kind of open in the middle there so that all the tech kind of sinks back a little farther, whereas the shape of the item can be pulled out. It's easier for the eyes to just pull it out. But yeah, hopefully I will be able to complete 3 pages this weekend. I've got a couple pages kind of in a state of almost complete. I forgot that I wanted back of the hand guard there. Just kind of hint at it. Put some contrast to a hint at the perspective. But so because I was working with the local wrestling company, I kept waiting on them and their agreement to be a part of Alpha Red number 8. And so that kind of took the momentum out of the wind out of my sails when I was ready to really go for it. And so now it's kind of, there's a bunch of pages that are just kind of sitting there because I did pick up other commission work and just to pass the time. And so now I just got to get back into that gear. Get back into the comic making gear. So Shotgun, how many characters are in your story? Do you have one main protagonist, or is it a team book? I know you said it's a father-son story. Speaking of father-son stories, Joe Spicer has a couple more days on his Kickstarter for, what's it called, Joe? It's a Starcross team up, fire, father and fire. Forget what Scorcher and Pentecost. And they forget what it is. Joe Spicer, if you're here, you can chime on in and let us know about that. Let us know about that campaign that has, I think, 3 or 4 more days. 3 or 4 more days. But it could use a little bit of help. A little bit of help. Yeah, I'm always a sucker for a competition, an art competition. And I'm very optimistic until I see some of the other entries. Thinking, I got this. Then I show up, I'm like, dang, that guy's good. I did not see that guy come in. So Shotgun says it's a father, a son, 3 incompetent villains, 1 big baddie. So 6 in total. Nice. Yeah. So do you have like a whole world built out, or is it just kind of you've only got enough world to complete the story, and then if you got more story, you build out more of the world? There's some people who build out so much world, and you're like, bro, like you wasted a lot of time. Like, but it was so fun. Like, yep, fun is fun. But comics are kind of like it's a commercial medium. So it's like if you're not putting it out there, nobody knows about it, nobody remembers it, nobody appreciates all the time that you're putting into the extra world building. You just gotta get it out there. Hint at the world building. World building is, I hate to say it's secondary, but it's definitely not as important as done. Done is more important than a lot of steps. Now you don't want to be done too soon or whatever, but you don't want to like prematurely put something out there that is kind of subpar. But don't think that you have to have all the nuts and bolts put in before you launch the plane, because some of those nuts and bolts will fall into place magically where they weren't necessary. Anyway, you ever put furniture together and then at the end you're like, how come I have so many nuts and bolts still left? But you sit on the furniture anyway, right? Sit down on the furniture anyway. Shotgun says, I only focus on the simple story. Didn't want to spend years building a world. The narrative drives the lore for me. Amen, brother. Amen. I know there will be religions and cultures and customs, but didn't want to focus on that before learning how to write a good story first. Amen to all of that. Just do it. Do it. Just like Conan said, do it. Isn't that what he says? Is it Conan the Barbarian? Lot on your knife. It's been a long time since I've watched Conan. a long, long time. I remember it used to come on all the time on TV. All the time. Yeah, Conan says that all the time. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So are you picking up any of the Conan comics by, I think it was Dynamite who's doing the Conan books? And according to Thinking Critical, Wes from Thinking Critical, it's like one of the best books. He is also a self-confessed Conan, like, crazy man. It's one of his top characters. So, but that makes it even more important that they are getting it right. So I say if he is a huge fan of Conan and he gives it the good reviews, then as someone who only tangentially knows a little bit about Conan, should really be knocked off their chairs. Knocked off their keister. Knocked onto their keister. No, I guess Joe Spicer dipped out. Those Conan comics are way better than they should be. Jim Zub is doing a great job. Nice. That's good to know. Good to know. I'm getting to the point where I could probably read another comic. Read another comic a month. Probably definitely. I will likely lean into some of that Conan stuff when I go for my storyline, just to kind of study it, see what else is appealing about the fantasy stuff other than the dragons and swords and stuff. Like, not all of it's good, and not all of it's going to work for my story, but dragons and dinosaurs, swords, and it's going to be fun. Gonna be fun. Good stuff. Yeah, it's harder when you're doing a live stream and you're talking and thinking like you're not as dialed in as I am when I'm sitting there in my favorite chair, my comfy chair, and thinking about line weights and where the light's hitting and that kind of stuff. But no, I think it's hopefully when I noodle around with it afterward, I can see if this needs any more perfecting before I post it. And I feel like whenever I post something, people are like, "Oh yeah, I want to do it now." Like, bro, like it inspires other people to get off their butts and put in an entry. So it's a good thing and a bad thing. You want to beat the best of the best, you know. But sometimes you just want to win. Not too proud to say I just want to win sometimes. And the less people entering, the easier it is to win. So what 3D game? What games? I guess have you worked on? Shotgun. Anything that we would know? I'm not a big gamer, so I don't. I wouldn't really know. I mean, I've heard of stuff, obviously Minecraft, and what's the one everybody is obsessed over? Fortnite. Those are the only obvious ones. Obviously, Nintendo, the Mario stuff, but I don't know. Do you do like just any kind of? Are you able to plug into any kind of video games, or is it like a specialty that you have that you only do certain, like maybe just high fantasy video game type stuff? Maybe that's your wheelhouse. I don't know if that's a thing where you have different technical skills that lend themselves a little bit better for different genres of gameplay. They have 2 or 3 trade paperbacks out. I would get the first one for sure. There's more narration than I was used to coming from manga, but once you get past that, it's wonderful. That's fantastic to hear. Yeah, I'm I am starting to add a little bit more narration into my writing, and I script everything. So even though I have brought on a writer, and maybe you need to bring on a writer. Writers, especially writers who understand that comic books are a visual medium, and they need to kind of trust the artist a little bit more than if you're just writing a novel. But I know Patrick Daniel, he's a pretty good writer. He sent me some samples. I just don't have a need for more than one writer. I don't draw fast enough to really work with any other writer. And young Ray is fun to work with. Well, guys, it is approaching 10 o'clock, and I want to give you guys a solid jumping off point here. So I'm going to call it done for the night. I may or may not pop back on just to finish it up. I will likely just finish it up without turning on the camera, so that way I have my eyes focused in on what is needed to win. So I appreciate you guys hanging out with me on a Friday evening, and we're going to do this every Friday. As far as I can tell, everything seems to be working out that Fridays are going to be the best for the next 2 or 3 months. So until next Friday, guys, go to shopalphared.com and pick up some Alpha Red. And until next time, grace and peace. I'm going to hit the outro, and we are
from the shadows. He rises with courage in his heart, a beacon of hope. He's ready to start with faith as his armor and a fire in his soul. Alpha Red stands tall, fulfilling his role. Alpha Red, the hero we need. With the power of faith, he'll always succeed. Fighting darkness, he'll never dread. For the world is safe with Alpha Red. In a world full of chaos, where evil may lurk, he fights for the righteous, his mission and work. Guided by God, along, and hope seems so far. Look to the skies, we'll see his bright star. With a prayer and a promise, he faces the fight. Alpha Red shines through, the beacon of light. Alpha Red, the hero we need. With the power of faith, he'll always succeed. Fighting darkness, he'll never dread, for the world is safe with Alpha Red. So stand tall with courage, let your faith lead the way. With Alpha Red beside us, we'll see a brighter day. For evil may tremble, but never forget, the world is protected by our hero, Alpha Red. Alpha Red. Alpha Red.